transparency, back in 2011, I was suicidal. I had an intent, and I had a plan, or at least a thought of it. And I can remember in that space feeling like I was living such a lie. Because from the standpoint of being a leader, in a position that I actually had just left in 2011, and that was really the catalyst that really kind of kicked it off for me feeling that way, because I didn't know who I was.
Right.
But I felt very much like I was a farce. The imposter syndrome was just on me so big. And how can I be encouraging other people, and I'm here in this space?
Relatively unknown. Let's go. We up and coming, we fun and we really relevant. Yeah, we giving hope, we super dope, you know we heaven sent. If you sick and low, you need a dose, we got the medicine. Probably never heard of us before, but you gon' let us in. I told y'all boys before that we coming, ready to give it to anybody that want it. We bringing y'all the truth and keeping it 100. You may not know it now, but soon we gon' run it. We gon' run it, it's my promise. Y'all better get ready, cause we coming. Content gon' be so fire. Gon' like, share, and subscribe. Yeah. Gon' like, share, and subscribe. Content gon' be so fire. Gon' like, share, and subscribe.
Welcome to the Relatively Unknown Podcast, the #1 podcast for up-and-comers. My name is Philip.
And I'm Carrie.
And we believe that everyone has the potential to succeed given the right tools and the right guidance. On this podcast, we help relatively unknown people become known in the things that they want to be known for.
We come to you fresh. Yep, that's right. Fresher than produce on the back of a truck. Every Sunday with brand spanking new content. So we want you to tap in and subscribe wherever you consume podcasts. And we need you to go like Relatively Unknown on all of our social media platforms.
On today's podcast, first of all, it's going to be super dope. We got a lot going on. First of all, we're going to tackle some crucial conversations.
Crucial.
And if y'all ever had crucial conversations, this is a great segment to tune into. Secondly, we're going to talk about, something that's trending. We got to talk about it. Especially the Grammys, y'all. We got to talk about it, because there were some things on the Grammys. And we got to talk about it.
A little scuffle.
We got a lot of stuff going on today, but before we get into any of that, I got to pause for a second, just see.
What's going on?
You already know.
Yeah.
And you hit that note pretty good there,
Thanks.
right?
Yeah.
What's
Just
going on with you, girl? What's going on with you?
Oh,
Tell me about your week.
Just another busy week in mental health,
Just another
making
busy
it
week.
do what it do.
That's it. That's what we always do. We always make it do what it do.
Yeah, a lot of basketball going on this week. So as our girls headed into the regional semifinals, and we're going to state.
That's a big deal.
We had to get one win.
Yeah, it's a big deal for our basketball team to actually get invited into the state tournament. I believe this is the first time they've been in the state tournament since our oldest daughter, Saray, was
I think a
freshman.
sophomore or a freshman.
I think it's a freshman.
She might have been a freshman. So this is our coaches, Coach Clater. Shout out to Coach Clater. This is her first time as a head coach in the state tournament. So, this is big. So we're excited to see the Lindell Lady Dragons. From the fire pit.
Taking
it somewhere way far away.
That's right.
Elberton, Tiger, Georgia, places I don't.
It's crazy when you think about that, because Georgia is a pretty doggone big state. So
most states are pretty doggone big.
Well, we are gonna be traveling, and since we're traveling, we're gonna be on the road. We're gonna be on the road. But
that's right.
But it's gonna be a great experience for our ladies.
So how about you? What was going on with you this week?
Oh, traveling. Getting ready and getting prepared. I'm getting ready to go to Boston. Got 2 big weeks in Boston, doing some leadership development training for a large company that I will not yet name, but definitely some good stuff there.
So y'all pray my scramph and the Lord, because I will be the only parental unit here.
Oh, Jesus.
And there are times on the schedule that I have to be in multiple places at the same time. And, after 26 years of raising children, I still haven't figured out how to make that happen. But, hey, there's always a papaw and a ram in a bush.
That's right. Unless we want to kind of get your Stretch Armstrong on, and no, that's not
I don't think
work.
it's even Stretch Armstrong. It would have to be like, the genie. I'd have to put my ponytail up here.
Hit that nod thing.
Yeah. I haven't figured out how to make that happen. Or I have to be like, beam me up, Scotty. Like Star Trek.
We got to do something.
We'll make it happen.
Well, listen, let's go ahead and jump into today's session.
Both feet.
I hope y'all are ready. Let's tune in. This is, what do we call it? Relatively Unknown. So, there has been so much going on in the news, especially surrounding the Grammys.
Since the Grammys.
The Grammys, y'all. I mean, so much going on. One specific thing I do want to talk about, because I think we do. There was a song, I forget the guy's name, maybe Sam Salter or something like that. But anyways, he had a song. Unholy. You know what it is? Unholy.
Yeah, and the first trans.
The first trans woman to
win a Grammy. Yeah.
That was a
lot
big
of diversity.
deal. A lot of diversity going on.
Which I want to come back to that after you go where you're going. With
that. Lot of diversity coming on, but they came up and they performed the song Unholy, and they got a whole lot of people in the church like, hey, going crazy, saying, it's demonic, and why do we have this going on, and this, that, and the other, and it was interesting for me watching that happen, because first of all, it was funny because what's my man's name? Smokey Robinson. Smokey Bell.
Which, by the way,
he looked good.
Looking good.
He's like 82, 3, 4, somewhere around there.
He still got the two-step. He wasn't doing too much more than that.
Smokey was getting it, right?
Yeah.
But it was so amazing to me when I was watching Smokey even read. He's like, and the winner is Unholy.
He's just shocked.
He had his face like unholy. Like who is this? Who is this? But in watching the performance, we have a lot of people who are coming up and who are, kind of slamming the performance, asking and saying, what's going on with the Grammys, and why are we allowing this unholy representation to come to our airwaves? It's polluting our children and things like that, and it's an interesting take, and I understand what's being said, but I gotta be honest. We live in a world.
Yeah, well, furthermore, not only do we live in a world, we live in a free country where we have religious freedom.
Yeah.
And, I'm all the way Christian.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're talking about Grammys, we are talking about art, and art is for consumption. And there is some art that I enjoy, and there's others that I don't, and then there's some that I don't understand.
Right.
So, it's a tough topic.
I think it's a very tough topic, especially for those of us who are in the church, those of us who profess to be believers and Christians, and there are a lot of those folks. I would say that we are in that category. Who may be upset, right?
Yeah.
And they might be upset. They don't want, this on the television. They don't want, your children consuming,
They didn't want Elvis in his blue suede shoes either.
No,
it's always been there.
It has always been there. And not only has it always been there, again, I was saying earlier, we live in a world. If our children, if we are not seeing that on, television, we're seeing it everywhere that we go.
Social media don't stop.
Social media, everywhere that we go, we're seeing it. So I guess my question is this: if we as believers can't take the things that we see and be strong in our faith and exemplify the light and exemplify our faith everywhere that we go, then how are those people who do not believe what we believe,
how would they ever come to that
going
space?
To ever come to that place? That's just kind of, I guess, where I'm at. Don't get me wrong. The song was the song, you know what I'm saying? But it's not the worst song that I've ever seen or heard. It's definitely not the best, but it's not. It wasn't the worst, because I've seen all kind of crazy stuff happen in this world, right? Mm-hmm. But regardless of what's happening in this world, as a believer, I'm saying that my job is to stand and reflect the truth the love of God, like be a true reflection of what that is. I go back to something that you said during our last podcast. We're talking about being around an eclectic group of people. And one of the people in our friend group said, you know what, you are, how I forget how it was phrased, but it was basically, and I'll summarize, you are the reflection of what a Christian should be.
Yeah, that was basically what was said, and that was very touching.
That was, I'm sure that was hugely touching.
That meant a lot, because that's what I want to be.
Right.
And what was meant by that is that I just, receive and accept and love everybody, like wherever they are.
Right.
And we don't control the media mountain.
No, we don't.
As Christians, we don't. I mean, if we wanted to, then we need to make those moves. But we don't. So we have to. I mean, it's
interesting. It's interesting. Especially the harsh stance that people were taking.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, I heard people like, oh well,
boycott the Grammys.
Boycott the Grammys. We're in the end times, and I was like, newsflash, we yes, that is correct.
This and more has been going on.
Right, right, and it's going to continue to go on until
I to a certain extent, I wonder. To me, like the things that are going on in the dark. They're worse than the things that are happening in the light.
Yeah.
So at least it's like, the ability for you to be aware and to know, and to, as a Christian person, be prepared to address those things that are happening in the light, so to speak. I do like changing that a little bit. I do have a bit of criticism. I can't remember how they added, I think, 5 or 6 new categories. And there's, I don't know,
there's a whole bunch of Grammys.
40.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of Grammys.
Right.
But gospel has, I believe, like 1.
Yeah.
1 or 2.
Yeah.
So, there's a big industry of Christian and gospel music.
I would agree.
Out there. And, I think if you look at a lot of the current musicians, there are a lot of people who have roots in the church, who started singing in the choir.
Right.
That's where they started, or they started playing an instrument through the church. And so, I think maybe that's the angle that we need to take. If we had more opportunity to present the music that's coming from the church with the message that's coming for the church in that platform, maybe that's the angle you go, rather than just boycotting altogether.
Yeah, it's interesting because this year, Maverick City Music.
Yeah.
Shout out to Maverick City, by the way.
Shout out.
Won, couple Grammys, which was a good thing. And again, as a Christian, I want to applaud.
They performed.
Right. I want to applaud that.
Yeah.
But then they went up and they performed a song
with a secular artist. And they probably got
all kind of criticism and backlash. They got
boycotted and banned and talked bad about on social media. I say, Maverick City, just keep holding your head up. Because again, I mean, unless the light entered the dark, if that's the way you see it, I mean, who's gonna be there to connect, minister, love on? I mean,
it's interesting. One thing that I stand on wholeheartedly is I don't care how much darkness there is in the world. Like I literally I don't care how much darkness. It can be darkity dark, like super dark, right? It can be dark, but if you take the smallest amount of light and place it inside of the dark, it ain't dark no more.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, you get great big giant dark.
Itty bitty teeny little.
Right. It will illuminate. It will illuminate the darkness. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to continue to get darker and darker and darker in the world that we live in. But for us as believers, for us as Christians, I believe it's our place to continue to be the light, live the light. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean accepting and condoning things. We're not here to coddle, right? We want to tell the truth in love, right? Mm-hmm. But that also doesn't mean beating up and condemning and throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, I don't know what good is that really going to do. I just, it's not. It's just absolutely not. And that I think that's part of the reason why the person in the friend group made the comment that was made.
Yeah.
Because there is a level of hypocrisy
mm-hmm.
that the world views the church through that lens of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Because we don't live out what we believe.
Right.
And so, we got to start somewhere. Maybe we should just start simple with just being like Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, he hung out with sinners.
Yeah, he did. He did. And he never had to compromise.
He never compromised
who he was.
Never.
And I think that's a big piece right there. We don't have to compromise who we are as believers, what we believe and what we stand on, to love people with that same love that was extended towards us, with that same grace and mercy that was extended towards us.
Yeah, we forget that we had to have that.
Oh, man, yeah.
I mean, I guess everybody out there in podcast land just had it all together.
All I know is I didn't have it all together. All I know is I was
in need of a savior.
Yeah, I was a hot mess, in need of a savior, and even till this day, am still in need of a savior to hold me together. Because without him,
I ain't got it all together.
Man, what? I ain't got it all together. Which kind of leads us into what we've been talking about. I mean, it's an amazing book by a guy. His name is Dave Hollis. Mm-hmm. The book's called Get Out of Your Way. So if you are looking for a good book, go on over to Amazon and get Dave Hollis, Get Out of Your Way, because that book right there is amazing. But what the book does, it addresses these lies that we tell ourselves, mm-hmm. right? And as he goes through, he addresses the lie. And in addressing the lie, he's basically breaking the lie down and being able to say, who told me this?
Exactly.
Where in the world did this lie come from?
Mm-hmm.
And as I was reading it, I was like, yo, that would be like a super, super dope thing to come and really have this crucial conversation on, to where we can talk, because there is a lie that I want to address today. And it kind of, we're kind of inching towards that.
Yeah.
But the lie is this, that we got it all together. Mm-hmm. And what I know is that I don't think we got it all together. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think we have it all together.
And I just want to be honest.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of people, and please don't send no hate mail. There are a whole lot of people, especially in the church, faking the funk. Putting on their Sunday best and threatening the kids before they get to the church house.
Right.
Because they have to keep up with the Joneses. They got to appear like they've kept it all together, that everything is appropriately swept under the rug, and we keep it under there. Like what happens at home stays at home.
Yep.
And, it's just a lie that we have to stop perpetuating, because all it's doing is leading to a breakdown of individuals and families.
Yeah.
Because you feel like there's this expectation of perfection that you have to live up to. And it's not about perfection. It's about making continuous progress.
Right.
And when we look at, especially ministers, pastors, I mean, look at some of the last several years, some predominant pastors, it's been in the media, who have died by suicide as a result of this lie of we got it together. Yeah. Well, they didn't have it together because they're human beings.
Right.
And, if we had it all together, again, we go back to what we were saying, we wouldn't have been in need of a savior to help us, to get it together and to live a life that's pleasing.
Right.
And these core beliefs, these assumptions that we live based on, like this particular lie, they are reflected in our thoughts, our moods, our behaviors. Yeah. And if they are distorted and altered, it will lead you down a trail of just challenging issues, problematic life that, it's going to be a problem.
It's so interesting. And I know I can, I'll talk about like my upbringing. I love my family dearly. My mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. I love them dearly. Right. And we are so close. I mean, we talk like every day. You know what I'm saying? I might talk to my parents multiple times a day. You know what I'm saying?
Same.
I talk to my brother and my sister. Same thing with you. You know what I'm saying?
Mom all the time.
It's like it's we're super, super close. But I also know because we were close, we were also it wasn't that we were private, but you just don't want everybody all up in your business. So it's almost as if there is this conditioning that happens, going back to what you said, is we handle the house business in the house, right? We don't take the house business outside of the house. And I understand that. I understand why. I understand all of that. But when we do that, what seems to happen is we create this mental block that we have to put on the makeup, right? And we can't go outside with our face unmade.
Yeah.
You know, because if we go outside and people see that you are unmade, that's not a good thing.
And all you do is you just perpetuate the problem, and you remain stuck.
Yeah.
And that core belief that we just don't talk about certain things. Sometimes it's not just outside of the house, but in the house, too.
Yep.
We pass those things on, and they become like generational curses that we're passing on. We got it all together.
Right.
Keep it all together. And so we wonder why our children don't come to us and tell us things when they're struggling.
Right.
When they're having problems or issues and things are going on.
Right.
You know, we wonder why certain people in our families just stay stuck in these same patterns.
Right.
And it's because of these lies.
We
like,
gotta pretend.
We got it all together.
Yeah, we
fake it till you make
that's
it.
And that's one of the things that we hear, right? Just fake it till you make it. Just
That's
fake
a lie
it
too.
That is a lie.
I don't have to fake it.
No.
I can reach out to somebody to say, hey, I ain't making it.
Right.
I'm just hanging on.
Right. You know, I can be very honest and transparent and say what I've seen just personally. You know, there is this burden that a lot of people carry, especially people who are in ministry. You know, there's this burden that we carry that we have to be buttoned up. You know, I remember, like, for a long time, like, it was simple things. Like, I would never wear shorts to church because I was always taught that you wear your Sunday best, right? And
No chip fingernail polish for me.
Right? But if you showed up and you were not put together, it was like, well, the Lord's going to get me. You know what I'm saying?
You're going to hell.
Right, because
Look,
I wasn't
said that
put
word
together.
again.
Or, you know, the perception of you may be shifted from other people, right?
Yeah,
so
people give you the side
right,
or
right.
whatever.
So I got to be clean on the outside and a hot mess
and
on the inside.
And meanwhile, these same people who are saying that there's a certain way you have to be, they're going to other communities, you know,
and showing out
and doing their dirt.
Yeah.
You know, they go into
Let me go on over here.
the so-and-so, they don't drink a daiquiri, but when we go over to so-and-so county, we can drink a daiquiri over there. We can just be who we are. Like, well, then who are you really being?
Right.
And then we wonder why they call the church hypocritical. But, you know, in all transparency, back in 2011, I was suicidal. I had an intent and I had a plan, or at least a thought of it. And I can remember in that space feeling like I was living such a lie, you know, because from the standpoint of being a leader in a position that I actually had just left in 2011. And that was really the catalyst that really kind of kicked it off for me feeling that way, because I didn't know who I was.
Right.
But I felt very much like I was a farce. You know, the imposter syndrome was just on me so big, you know, and how can I be encouraging other people and I'm here in this space and having these thoughts, and, you know, it was like such shame and embarrassment for even being in that place. And it was that whole lie of we got it all together.
Keep it together.
Keep it all together, that I didn't tell anybody.
Right.
You know, and that trying to like keep it all together was causing a further unravel. Now, I'm thankful that I had awesome protective factors, in that I had strong faith and belief that wouldn't allow me to take my own life, because I didn't feel like I had the right to do that, because I didn't give it to myself. But I also had, you know, just I didn't want to leave you and the children with that, and to have anybody think it was their fault.
Right.
And if we were open enough to say to somebody, I don't have it all together, then people wouldn't feel left like, when things don't always go right, that it's all my fault. Like I'm carrying the burden.
Right.
But we don't open that space and make room for people to be transparent about not having it all together.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was there. I mean, it was real.
Yeah.
And then
so how did you, going to that place, right, and experiencing that and feeling like you had the weight of the world on your shoulders, and at that time feeling like a failure, right? How did you muster yourself out of that place to get to where you are now, to where you can even like talk about it publicly?
Yeah. Again, it was just my faith and my love for my family. And, I think of people who don't have one or the other or both like I did.
Right.
What did they do?
Right.
But, I just dug a little deeper and held on. I mean, I've never shared this with anybody, but I can remember feeling like, even as a child, needing to have it all together.
Yeah.
And thinking I just want to die.
Wow.
Or, thinking about how I could die, at my own hands. And it was that lie. Got it all together. I didn't. I was messing up. I was making mistakes. I didn't feel like I could tell anybody.
Yeah.
Because again, my parents didn't mean any harm, but it was given to them.
Right.
That lie was given to them. That core belief was given to them, and it was just passed down generation to generation.
Right.
And I felt like I had these expectations.
Yeah.
So, I finally came to a place where those are my expectations.
Yeah.
I have to release myself.
Release the expectations.
From the expectation.
That's good.
Because my expectations are too small for me.
That's good.
Because God had a plan that supersedes any expectation that I might ever have. And so I just got into a place where I became comfortable with being imperfect.
Yeah.
I'm okay with being perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
And knowing that I'm trusting that I'm being guided along the way. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't get challenged by that core belief, because it's still in there.
Right.
Because, again, it was passed down. And I tell people about core beliefs because this is kind of cognitive behavioral therapy, actually. It's like the hard drive in a computer. Those core beliefs and assumptions, they're operating in the back.
Right.
Whether you realize it or not.
Or not, right.
But your thoughts, moods, behaviors are all a function of those assumptions and core beliefs. Like, we got it all together.
Right.
And, we have to be okay with releasing those expectations. I don't have to have it all together. It's really okay if I don't.
Yeah, and I think you say something so critical in releasing that expectation and being able to be okay not having it all together is critical in being able to take back, and I don't know if the right word is control, but being able to get yourself back to a place where you can operate.
It is control in the sense of being able to regulate.
Yeah.
I mean, I can still know that I think that way, but I can regulate it. I don't have to act on it. And, I think that comes with a level of maturation, I don't know how you feel about that, but I think as we mature, we become more comfortable in the skin we're in. I mean, literally, we've been together for 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, since I was 16 and you were 15. And I feel like I've watched you just come into a place of maturation where you're just comfortable in the skin you're in. And I watch you operate and, you just shut things down. Like, no.
Right.
That's...
Yeah, I think there is some truth to the whole maturation piece, because at the end of the day, I think we all get to the place where it's like, this is what I'm going to stand for. This is what I'm going to accept. This is what I'm not going to accept. And I'm going to be in control of my life. Because when you talk about releasing the expectations, like I finally had to release the expectations also to say, I don't have to be what you want me to be.
Be okay in the becoming.
Right. And it's okay to be becoming, right? I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to have it all right. I don't have to not mess up, right? Because we're all gonna mess up. For me, the key was mess up, but just don't stay there.
Yes,
don't stay down.
And success is not a destination.
Right.
It's a journey that we have in life, and it looks different for everybody because God has a different plan. We're a solution to a different problem. We're all anomalies in this world.
Absolutely.
So it's not a place of arriving somewhere. So that's why those expectations, they don't really make sense because they just leave you, again, going back to what we said in the beginning, stuck.
Yep. And it's interesting that you bring that up because there are so many people right now who feel stuck.
Yeah.
You know, they feel like, I got so much in me. I know that there's more to life, right? We start asking ourselves those questions. Is there more? I got to do something.
The answer is yes.
The answer is absolutely yes, right? And I would just say to those people out there, if you're in that category, if you're in that group, I would say pause for a second, right? Pause for a second because sometimes life is going so fast. We can't even see kind of where we're going. Like slow the car down.
That's right. Stop. And think about what you're thinking about.
Think about what you're thinking about, and really be able to ask yourself the question: where did this thought come from? Why am I having this thought? Like, is this even real?
Yeah, who told me that?
Who told me this? You know what I'm saying? And I just go back biblically, because biblically speaking, I go back to seeing this thing has happened before.
It happened to Adam and Eve.
Who told you
you're
that?
naked?
Right? And I think once we can start to process that and recognize that, you know what, this is a mental game that's being played by myself. And nobody really told me that, right? Maybe it's not even the truth. Right?
It might be your truth, but it doesn't have any facts to
Correct.
it. So put it on trial.
Correct.
Do you find any evidence that backs it up? If you don't, no facts. Sorry.
So get rid of the lies.
That's right.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, let them go.
Yeah, that was a good
Let
one.
it
Right?
go. Let it go. I don't care.
I don't know the words to it.
I don't know it either.
But that
Carson
was good.
does.
Let's go. We up and coming, we fun and we really relevant. Yeah, we giving hope, we super dope, you know we heaven sent. If you sick and low, you need a dose, we got the medicine. Probably never heard of us before, but you gon' let us in. I told y'all boys before that we coming, ready to give it to anybody that want it. We bringing y'all the truth and keeping it 100. You may not know it now, but soon we gon' run it. We gon' run it, it's my promise. Y'all better get ready, cause we coming. Content gon' be so fire. Gon' like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, gon' like, share, and subscribe. Content gon' be so fire. Gon' like, share, and subscribe.